Welcome to the Resource Nexus, where the thrill of the game meets the power of perspective. We're not just reporting on sports, we are trying to redefine how you see them. With thought-provoking trips to the past and new statistical takes, we delve deep into the annals of sports history, exploring the defining moments, legendary athletes, and unforgettable matchups that have shaped the sporting world. We're not content with just reminiscing. We're here to dissect today's game as well through a statistical lens, offering fresh perspectives and in-depth analyses that reveal the hidden narratives behind the performance. We hope you make our website, www.theresourcenexus.com, your nexus, where the past meets the present to create a richer, more insightful view of the games we love. Join us in this journey of data and insight. With 4 active players currently occupying positions in our top 11, these individuals, along with several others in the top 100, have the opportunity to enhance their legacy in the upcoming year. Our rankings of the greatest NBA players of all time include relevant statistics and accomplishments that informed our decisions. Longevity is a significant factor, and players like Nikola Jokic, who has just entered his prime, are expected to ascend in the coming years. Conversely, some players in their early 30s may experience decline years, impacting overall averages if they choose to extend their playing careers. We have distinguished games as a marker for longevity and availability. Certain individuals in their mid-30s have accumulated substantial value as they transition into a new phase of their careers. PER stands out as my preferred per-possession statistic due to its adjustment for the specific year and the player's era, considering the rules in play during their time. This metric compares players to their contemporaries, providing insights into their dominance. However, it is not an exclusive measure, as players with higher PERs may still be ranked lower. It serves as a tool that, in my opinion, adds value to contextual understanding. Additionally, I have incorporated box plus minus when available, introducing team impact and defensive statistics. While I don't strictly adhere to a championships-only perspective, I've included it as a reference point in our Jeet Kune Do approach. Interpret it as you see fit. To be candid, being exclusively focused on championships seems unrealistic, especially considering historical contexts, such as Bill Russell competing against a limited number of teams and shooting 44% from the floor. Even those who claim championships are the sole criteria for success don't universally place Russell as the #1 player. The complexity of evaluating greatness goes beyond mere championships. Factors like draft placement, teammates, coaching staff, general management, and luck significantly influence championship outcomes, often beyond the control of individual players in a team-oriented sport. Players can only influence their on-court performance. Take Charles Barkley, for instance. Is it fair to heavily penalize him for reaching the NBA Finals only once, especially when his prime teammate was Kevin Johnson and he coincided with Michael Jordan's prime? While external factors matter, our focus is primarily on assessing what the player could control. The battle for #1. The Michael Jordan versus LeBron James debate, claiming the top spot. Currently, our rankings place Michael Jordan at the pinnacle, but the looming question is whether LeBron James, with another 3 to 5 years as a top 25 NBA player, can make an irresistible case for longevity. The discussion surrounding their legacies is already intense. While Michael Jordan faced burnout and took breaks, LeBron James, performing at a high level for an extended period, deserves recognition. The tragedy involving Jordan's father likely influenced his first retirement, yet he retired twice as the reigning best player globally. Having observed Michael Jordan since 1989 and avidly following every game of the Bulls' victorious finals series, I, even as a fan, assert that LeBron James is the greatest basketball player ever, despite Jordan's superior NBA career at this point. Placing LeBron on the 1990s Bulls teams under the same rules, I believe he would have achieved even more success. Conversely, if the situations were reversed, Jordan would likely boast a comparable team resume, including NBA Finals appearances, but adapting to the current era might prove more challenging for him, especially with the three-point explosion in the last decade, a facet not central to Jordan's game. As of now, Michael Jordan maintains a slight edge in the historical NBA rankings. The ongoing saga hinges on how long LeBron James continues to accumulate stats, awards, and accomplishments. With 10 NBA Finals and counting for LeBron, the debate is far from settled. Jordan reigns as the points-per-game champion, while LeBron claims the title of all-time scoring champion. Both were formidable defensive players in their primes, amassing a total of 9 NBA MVPs, with Jordan securing 5 and LeBron 4. The journey to determine the true basketball GOAT continues, fueled by their remarkable achievements and contributions to the game. 3. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. While Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's overall statistics may not quite measure up, it's essential to acknowledge that this is partially due to his remarkable career longevity, playing until the age of 42, a rarity in the NBA. Even at 38 years old, he earned the distinction of being a first-team All-NBA player, although some subsequent years slightly affected his averages. Kareem's legendary durability is underscored by his holding the all-time scoring record for 3 decades, making him a standout figure in basketball history. In the past, he was a key point of discussion in comparisons with Michael Jordan. However, with LeBron James now holding the scoring title and showing potential to play at a high level beyond the age of 42, Kareem's legacy deserves inclusion in conversations alongside Jordan and LeBron. In the next 2 or 3 years, if LeBron maintains his current level of play, he could solidify his place as the clear third in NBA history. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, even slightly past his prime, and Magic Johnson form arguably the greatest all-time partnership in basketball. 4. Magic Johnson. A 6'9" point guard almost seems outrageous to think about today, much less in 1980. Not only was he capable of playing the position at his incredible size, but he also played it better than anyone else in history has. He did it in a way that showed you could be successful and still have fun as well. There are many ways to play the game, and he was a marketable superstar. The NBA really has Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rivalry to thank for digging the NBA out of a ditch and putting the league on the path to international stardom. The same path Jordan would eventually take brings it to. Magic has his spot in history, though. Unfortunately, he was robbed of several years by the HIV virus. Magic was still a very good player when he came back 5 years later, in fact. I don't believe his sickness cost him any titles with the Bulls dynasty emerging, but he would have still continued to have great seasons and playoff runs, in our opinion. We detail how that may have looked here. 5. Wilt Chamberlain. With Chamberlain, you have to adjust for the minutes per game and pace. He was putting up 50 points per game and 25 rebounds per game seasons. You have to understand the number of rebounds available in those days. Still, the man was putting up numbers the game has never seen before and was a pioneer in the sport. It was a weaker NBA, but there is little doubt Chamberlain was one of the best players the league has ever seen and would have found success in many eras with his physical gifts in NBA history. He's the only player to score 100 points in an NBA game, of course, as well. A record, as with many of his, will likely stand the test of time. 6. Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq is probably the most dominant physical player that has ever played in NBA history. The level of physicality and athleticism he brought at his size was awe-inspiring from the moment he stepped on the court. Shaq was never able to shoot, but he always had very understated ball skills. He wasn't just big. He could also handle the ball and pass well. Shaq has an all-time legacy regardless, but he's one player that I believe left some championships out there he could have had if he were more motivated. He came into camp often out of shape and even stated once he got hurt on Lakers time, so he was going to get surgery on work time, and not the off-season. Examples like that are what helped cause the demise of his relationship with Kobe Bryant. He's a little like the smart guy in college you knew that liked to party but could have graduated summa cum laude. Shaq seemed to prioritize some things in their life more than grinding 24/7 for his entire career. That has worked out to his benefit as well as a star marketer and personality that has extended well past his playing career on the court. Being 6th on our list is still pretty good, even if it cost him a spot or two in his NBA career, and is one of the most dominant NBA players. 7. Larry Bird is credited for helping save the NBA. What is so remarkable to me about his career for the Boston Celtics is how great he at the end, even with so many back issues. The guy was every man, it seemed, mowing his lawn and pouring concrete in his driveway in the summer. That's how he hurt his back, was doing home improvements like a manual laborer. I've actually wondered if he never hurt what the end of his career might have looked like and how long he could have played for the Boston Celtics. Bird was still averaging 20 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists at 35 years old, even while he had to stay on the floor just to keep his back in good enough shape to play. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. I also wonder if Len Bias hadn't passed away, if the Boston Celtics and Bird might have another NBA title. 8. Tim Duncan. What is the opposite of Shaq personality-wise? Probably Tim Duncan. Both came into the league at a similar time, and with similar can't-miss feeling drafts. You knew if you won the Shaq sweepstakes you were drafting a can't-miss all-time player. It felt the same way the year Duncan was entering the draft as well. 5 championships later, he certainly delivered. He was one Ray Allen three-pointer away from 6. Duncan had an incredible career and was still playing at a Finals MVP level at 38 years old when he won his last titles in the NBA Finals. Had Duncan gotten 6 titles, it would be very interesting where people ranked him. He was very close but clearly benefited from being with the Spurs. If he had been drafted by the Timberwolves like Kevin Garnett, would we be saying the same? It's some of those variables I think you also have to consider as well when considering the best NBA players. 9. Kevin Durant. Another active player that shows little signs of slowing down and can add to his legacy. I think you have to put Durant here. You can argue about how he got to the Warriors, but he was the best player on what was likely the greatest team ever assembled in NBA history. Lead them to 2 of the Golden State Warriors' NBA title runs. Durant was nearly always among the highest points per game players in the NBA. 10. Steph Curry. Curry changed the game and was almost the same level of dominant force. Shaq was in an opposite way, the way he warped the defense. He's a player that could fit on any team. His team attitude and style of game are how Durant was able to end up as an addition to a 73-win team. Steph also showed before and after Durant that he could lead teams to a championship. If he didn't get hurt the year Cleveland upset them, or Draymond doesn't get suspended, he may have had another championship. Had the Warriors won that championship that year, Durant may have never come to Golden State. There is an alternate universe where Curry could have had 4 championships, even without Durant. The Warriors were still likely title favorites without him. Curry is the only unanimous MVP in history as well. He's also active and showing few signs of decline, still putting up nearly 30 points per game. He remains one of the top NBA players. He should have 2 NBA Finals MVP as well. He can still add to his legacy as one of the best NBA players. 11. Nikola Jokic, updated. Jokic, the 2-time MVP, has per-game impact on the level of Jordan or LeBron. We've moved him up to 11th after his historic 2023 playoffs. He had a lot to prove in the playoffs this past season to move up. The expectations started this season with a healthy supporting cast, finally, and Nikola Jokic more than delivered with a historic playoff run. He now owns the #1 playoff PR in history, and the other key stats are undeniable as well. The former 42nd pick in the NBA draft. Forget the best passing big man ever. He might be the best passer in NBA history, period. He already has old man game and could play at a similar top 5 NBA level for the next 5 to 7 years. He has been remarkably healthy and should continue to add to his resume in a way perhaps his peer in Antetokounmpo may not be able to. The trajectory he's on could land him in the top NBA top 5 conversations before all is said and done. 12. Karl Malone. With 14 All-Star selections, 2 MVP awards, and a career point total of 36,128, the mailman is the most decorated ringless player in NBA history. Malone, though, got the unfortunate matchup with the Bulls both times he played in the NBA Finals. Karl Malone had incredible longevity and a great second act to his career, winning MVPs and going to the NBA Finals well into his 30s. The first player without a championship to show up on this list, but Jordan and the Bulls had a say in that as an all-time great dynasty. 13. Hakeem Olajuwon. Perhaps the most proficient and polished post scorer to ask for the ball on the block is the Dream. Olajuwon had incredible footwork, which many players have subsequently sought out in the off-seasons to improve, in addition to strength, athleticism, and touch. He may have been even more effective as a defender, earning Defensive Player of the Year honors twice and establishing a career-high mark for blocks. He's one of the best at this level as a defensive player. Olajuwon made the most of Jordan's retirement, making the NBA Finals and winning them, and the NBA Finals MVPs. 14. Moses Malone. In addition to having a distinguished career, Malone is the only person to have won back-to-back MVP awards with 2 separate teams. He achieved success with the Rockets in 1982 before being transferred to the 76ers, where he triumphed in 1983 and earned the MVP, championship, and NBA Finals MVP awards. His offensive rebounding record will likely never be broken. He needed Dr. J to get over the hump, but winning 3 MVPs in an era where Kareem was a top player is big-time stuff for one of the greatest NBA players. 15. David Robinson. In his prime, David Robinson had one of the best bodies in NBA history, with a physique that appeared to be made of clay. He spent years torturing opponents on both ends with his size and power, doubling as a high-caliber scorer and extraordinarily effective defender, especially when it came to defending the rim. However, Robinson didn't succeed until Duncan turned things around, which diminished his standing on this list. We see that more as being a great team player. He got a little bit of a later start after serving in the Navy, but at his peak was one of the most dominant big men the game has ever seen. The NBA championships were certainly aided by the arrival of Duncan. 16. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis is still writing his NBA legacy, but with 2 MVPs and an NBA championship already, he's well on his way. On draft night in 2013, Antetokounmpo, then 18 and from Greece, was a relative unknown. Since then, he has developed into one of the most powerful players of his age. He has won several awards since joining the league, including MVP twice, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved Player, and MVP of the Finals. Unfortunately, as dependent as he is on athleticism, this is the point he might start a steady decline as and NBA players. Regardless, individually, he has banked enough of a resume to place him here. 17. Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant won 5 NBA championships, NBA MVP, and had one of the greatest offensive seasons in NBA history. In those 5 titles, he had 2 NBA Finals MVP awards. He did it more inefficiently than most on this list. Had he landed with another franchise his entire career as the only good player? I'm not sure he's as high on this list. The Lakers always had expensive payrolls and put great teams around him most years. The 81 points scored against the Raptors is one of the greatest legendary games ever in league history. The All-NBA first-team defensive teams he made we question. 18. Kevin Garnett. When Garnett was selected 5th overall by the Timberwolves in 1995, he became the first high school athlete to enter the professional ranks in more than 20 years, paving the way for the prep-to-pro pipeline that followed. And after joining the NBA, Garnett contributed to the modernization of the big man game. He was one of just 3 players in NBA history to record at least 20,000 career points, 10,000 lifetime rebounds, and 5,000 career assists. He played like a swingman, hitting mid-range shots. Garnett played with unmatched fervor and has a talent for trash-talking on par with the best in the game. I often wonder how differently his and Tim Duncan careers would have been if they swapped franchises. Being drafted by the Timberwolves likely hurt his all-time legacy. 19. Charles Barkley. Barkley was a rebounding monster despite having his height recorded as 6'6" his whole career, and later admitting he was shorter. He wasn't given the nickname Round Mound of Rebound by accident, right? He became the shortest rebounding champion in NBA history during the shot clock era in 1986-87 when he averaged 14.6 rebounds per game. Barkley had the poor luck of being in the same draft class of Jordan and having his prime coincide with Jordan and the Bulls' peak. 20. Julius Erving, Dr. J, transformed dunking, which huge guys did around the hoop, into an art form. He started his career in the ABA, which likely hurts his NBA legacy a little. 21. Dirk Nowitzki. Nowitzki winning an NBA championship as the only All-Star on a Mavericks team over prime LeBron, Dido Wade, and Bosh will go down as one of the greatest unexpected wins ever. 22. Oscar Robertson. Robertson put up incredible numbers, but when you adjust for pace and how poor the shooting was and how many rebounds were available, they become more pedestrian. He was still a pioneer of the game and one of the best to ever play. 23. Dwyane Wade. Wade won a championship and Finals MVP without LeBron. That needs to be remembered, as does the role in his own organization that he ceded to LeBron. The partnership paid off, winning 2 more titles. 24. John Stockton. Stockton, like so many from the Jordan Bulls dynasty era, essentially blocked them from winning. I've been told this is a somewhat controversial rankings as he's too high. There is certainly a case he should even be higher. The incredible longevity cannot be understated. He was essentially the same quality of player at 40 as he was in his prime. He never saw much drop-off other than playing a few more minutes. You can't have the NBA all-time assist and steals leader any lower in our opinion. 25. Chris Paul. Paul became the first player in NBA history to achieve 20,000 career points and 10,000 career assists while still going strong in his 17th season. Additionally, he is 3rd all-time in steals. He has a lot of longevity on his side. This concludes our look at the top players in NBA history. Check us out at theresourcenexus.com for the entire list of 100+ honorable mentions. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe if you would like more of these videos. Check out our website for more as well at www.theresourcenexus.com.